If you're cruising on Liberty of the Seas, one of the biggest questions is where you can actually eat, what's included, and what costs extra. In this video, I'll take you through the Liberty of the Seas dining options, so by the end, you'll know where to go, what to expect, and how to plan your meals before you get on board. On Liberty of the Seas, you've got several different breakfast options. Let's start with the Windjammer, because this is the main buffet restaurant on Liberty of the Seas, and it's where a lot of people naturally head in the morning. Breakfast in the Windjammer is usually open from 7 a.m. until 11 a.m., which makes it one of the most flexible breakfast options on board. There is a lot of choice here. You'll usually find hot breakfast items like bacon, sausages, hash browns, pancakes, and cooked eggs, along with breads, toast, bagels, pastries, cereals, fruit, yogurt, and continental-style items. There's also an omelette and egg station, which is useful if you want eggs cooked to order rather than just taking what's already out on the buffet. You'll also find tea, coffee, water, and juice available in the buffet, so you don't need to go anywhere else for your morning drinks. The Windjammer is probably the busiest breakfast option on Liberty of the Seas, especially later in the morning on sea days. But in my experience, even when it was busy, I could still find a table, and there was plenty of choice. So I wouldn't avoid it just because it's popular. It's popular because it's easy, flexible, and gives you the widest breakfast selection. But if you want something a bit calmer, the main dining room breakfast on Liberty is worth knowing about. Breakfast is normally served in Rembrandt, which is the deck 3 level of the main dining room. On a sea day, breakfast in the main dining room is usually open from 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. On port days, it may open earlier, sometimes around 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m., depending on the itinerary and the day's schedule. So always check the Royal Caribbean app once you're on board. On Liberty, the main dining room breakfast works slightly differently because you've actually got 2 different styles of breakfast. You can order a la carte from the menu, where you sit down, choose what you want, and your food is brought to the table. But there's also a buffet-style section inside the main dining room, so you're still seated at a proper table in the dining room, but you can also go up and choose breakfast items from the buffet area within the restaurant. This makes it a nice middle ground if you like the choice and flexibility of a buffet, but you don't want the busier feel of the Windjammer. You still get the grander dining room setting, and you're not walking around the main buffet restaurant looking for a table with a plate in your hand. On screen now, I'll show you the main dining room breakfast menu. And I'll also show the brunch menu, because brunch can be offered on sea days, and it's worth checking for in the app. And if you want to look through the menus properly before you sail, I'll have them all on my website as downloadable PDFs. The link will be in the description. If you only want something light in the morning, Café Promenade on Deck 5 is a very handy option. Café Promenade is open 24 hours a day, so it works well if you're up early, heading off on an excursion, or you just don't want a full breakfast. In the morning, this is more of a grab-and-go option. You'll usually find things like fruit, pastries, and lighter breakfast snacks, rather than a full-cooked breakfast. You can also buy specialty coffees here, but there are free help-yourself drinks available as well, including tea, coffee, and water. And then there's room service. Room service breakfast is available from 6 a.m. until 11 a.m. You'll normally find the breakfast room service menu on the desk in your cabin. You fill in what you'd like, choose your delivery time, and then hang the order form on your cabin door the night before. Continental room service breakfast is included on Liberty of the Seas, and this can be a really nice option if you want a quieter start in your cabin, especially if you've got a balcony or an early port day. But if you want the hot American-style breakfast, there is a charge of $7.95. On screen now, you can see both menus, so you can compare what's included and what costs extra. Moving on to lunch, and this is where Liberty of the Seas has a new option after the refit. El Loco Fresh is located on Deck 11 near Splashaway Bay, so it's in a really convenient position if you're already out by the pool. It's usually open from noon until 6 p.m., so it works for lunch, afternoon snacks, and those in-between times when you want something casual without sitting down for a full meal. This is an included venue, so there's no extra charge to eat here. You'll find Mexican-style casual food, including burritos, fajitas, and other quick lunch options, along with a dedicated salsa station where you can add your own toppings and sauces. It also gives Liberty a much better pool deck lunch option than it had before the refit. Next, you've got the Windjammer, which is the main buffet restaurant on Liberty of the Seas, and it's usually open for lunch from 11:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. This is the place to go if you want the widest choice at lunchtime, because there's normally a bit of everything. As you come in, you'll usually find a large salad section with lettuce, vegetables, cold items, dressings, and toppings, so it works well if you want something lighter. There are also hot food stations with different dishes depending on the day. You might find things like pasta, rice dishes, vegetables, curries, carved meats, fish, chicken, burgers, fries, and other hot lunch options. There's usually a bread section as well, along with desserts, cakes, cookies, and fruit. So it's the kind of place where you can build a full meal or just pick up a few smaller things. You'll also find self-service drinks, including water, tea, coffee, and juice. And because the windjammer sits right at the back of the ship, some of the tables have lovely views out over the wake or along the side of the ship, so it's worth walking a little further in before you choose where to sit. It can get busy, especially on sea days or when people are coming back on board after a morning in port, but there's plenty of seating and plenty of choice. On sea days, the main dining room may also be open for lunch or brunch. This is normally in Rembrandt, which is the deck 3 level of the main dining room. The important thing to know is that the main dining room lunch offering can vary. On some sea days, you may see a proper lunch menu. On other days, it may be a brunch menu instead, so don't assume it will be exactly the same every day. On my sailing, lunch was usually around 12 p.m. until 2 p.m., but on the brunch day it was 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. The main dining room is a good option if you want a calmer lunch with table service, rather than going to the windjammer or grabbing food from the promenade. And here is a sample main dining room, lunch menu and brunch menu, so you can get an idea of the kind of dishes that may be offered. Then down on deck 5, in the Royal Promenade, you've got Sorrento's Pizzeria. Sorrento's is included, and it's one of the easiest places on board to grab something quick. It usually operates from around 11 a.m. until 3 a.m., although the exact times can vary, so it's always worth checking the Royal Caribbean app for the hours on your cruise. At lunchtime, Sorrento's is ideal if you just want a slice of pizza rather than a full buffet meal. Also on deck 5, Café Promenade serves lighter bites rather than a full meal. You'll usually find things like sandwiches, wraps, small snacks, fruit, cakes, and pastries, depending on the time of day. There are also paid lunch options on Liberty of the Seas. Johnny Rockets is up on deck 12, and this is Royal Caribbean's American-style diner, serving burgers, fries, onion rings, milkshakes, and classic diner food. On my sailing, Johnny Rockets opened from around noon and then stayed open until late, although again, it's worth checking the app for the exact hours on your cruise. This is a paid venue, so it's not included in your standard cruise fare, but it's a casual option if you want something different from the Windjammer, Sorrento's, or El Loco Fresh. Chops Grill is another paid lunch option. Chops is Royal Caribbean Steakhouse, and on Liberty of the Seas it's located on deck 11, just before you reach the Windjammer. It's usually open for lunch on embarkation day and on sea days, so it can be a quieter way to start your cruise if you want to avoid the first day rush in the buffet. It does cost extra, but if you're planning a more relaxed lunch on a sea day, or you want something that feels a bit more special, it's worth checking availability once you're on board. Giovanni's table may sometimes open for lunch as well, but it didn't open for lunch during my back-to-back sailing, and I was on board for 9 days, so I wouldn't rely on Giovanni's being available at lunchtime. It's better to check the app once you're on board and see whether lunch is being offered on your specific sailing. And then there's room service. Room service is available if you'd rather eat in your cabin, and this can be useful after a long morning ashore, if the buffet feels busy, or if you just want something easy without leaving your room. One thing that can catch people out on Liberty of the Seas is that the Windjammer usually closes after lunch at around 3 p.m. So if you've been out in port, or you've had a late breakfast and suddenly realize you want food in the middle of the afternoon, don't assume the buffet will still be open. The good news is that you've still got several options. Up on deck 11, near Splashaway Bay, you've got Sprinkles, which is the soft-serve ice cream station. It's included, so there's no extra charge. This is one of those simple cruise ship treats that always seems to be popular, especially with families. But honestly, plenty of adults use it as well. Also on deck 11, El Loco Fresh stays open until around 6 p.m., so this is one of the best included options if you want something more substantial after the Windjammer has closed. You can still pick up things like burritos, fajitas, and other Mexican-style casual food, and because it has the salsa station as well, it works well if you want something quick, but a bit more filling than a snack. And on the Royal Promenade, you've also got Sorrento's Pizzeria and Cafe Promenade. There are also a couple of paid snack options on the Royal Promenade. The ice cream parlor is where you can buy ice cream if you want something a bit more than the free soft serve at Sprinkles. And nearby, you've also got the cupcake cupboard, where you can buy cupcakes and other sweet treats. Dinner on Liberty of the Seas is where it's really worth understanding how Royal Caribbean dining works, because the main dining room is split across 3 decks, and you may have either fixed time dining or my time dining, depending on what you've chosen. The main dining room on Liberty of the Seas is at the aft of the ship and spread across decks 3, 4, and 5. On deck 3, you've got Rembrandt dining room. On deck 4, you've got Michelangelo dining room. And on deck 5, you've got Botticelli dining room. The menus are the same whichever level you're eating on, so you don't need to worry that one dining room has a different menu from another. The Michelangelo dining room on deck 4 and Botticelli on deck 5 are the main fixed-time dining rooms. And there are 2 fixed-time dining options. There is an early sitting, which is at 5:15 p.m., and the late fixed dining was at 7:45 p.m. My time dining was also on deck 3 during my sailing, and that ran from around 7 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. However, there was also fixed dining in Rembrandt on deck 3 at 5:15 p.m., so don't assume deck 3 is only ever used for my time dining. If you have fixed time dining, your cruise card will tell you which dining room you're assigned to, which deck you need, your dining time, and your table number. With fixed dining, you normally eat at the same time each evening, at the same table, with the same wait staff. If you have my time dining, that will also show on your cruise card, but it won't give you a fixed table in the same way. Instead, you can choose when you want to eat, within the My Time Dining window. You can reserve times in the Royal Caribbean app, and it's worth doing this early if you know when you want to eat, because the most popular times can go quickly. I also saw plenty of people heading to the main dining room during the day to speak to the maitre d' and book a time for that evening. With My Time Dining, you won't necessarily sit at the same table each night, and you won't always have the same wait staff, but you can request the same table or same area if you find a team you really like. It's not guaranteed, but they will usually try to help if they can. If you want to change your dining time, dining room, table size, or move between fixed dining and My Time Dining, ask as early as possible on embarkation day. And here is a sample menu for you. I'll also have a downloadable PDF of all the menus in the main dining room on my website. The link will be in the description. The Windjammer is also open for dinner, usually from 5:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. And this is a really useful option if you want something more relaxed. One thing I liked is that the Windjammer often follows the same general theme as the main dining room. So, if it's Italian night in the main dining room, you'll also find Italian-style dishes in the Windjammer. And you will find what theme the Windjammer has each night in the Royal Caribbean app. But alongside that, you'll still usually find the regular buffet choices, such as salads, soups, hot dishes, vegetables, breads, desserts, and lighter options. That makes the Windjammer a very easy dinner option if you don't want to dress up, want to wait for a table, or you just want to eat at your own pace. And a lot of people choose the Windjammer in the evening for exactly that reason. With their long opening hours, Sorrento's and Cafe Promenade on Deck 5 can also be used as included evening food options. Room service is also available in the evening if you'd rather eat in your cabin. And the menu is the same throughout the day. Now let's talk about specialty dining on Liberty of the Seas, because these are the restaurants that cost extra and sit outside the included dining options. Royal Caribbean uses dynamic pricing, so the price you see can vary depending on your sailing, when you book, and whether there are any offers showing in the cruise planner or the Royal Caribbean app. So rather than relying on one fixed price, always check your own sailing before you cruise. Royal Caribbean also sells different dining packages, including the unlimited dining package and smaller multi-night packages. Chops Grill is Royal Caribbean's classic steakhouse, and on Liberty of the Seas, it's located on Deck 11, just before you reach the Windjammer. This is the place to go if you want a more traditional steakhouse meal, with starters, steaks, seafood, sides, and desserts. It's more of a sit-down evening meal than a quick casual option, and it's one of the better-known specialty restaurants across the Royal Caribbean fleet. On some sailings, Chops Grill may also open for lunch on embarkation day, or sea days, if you want a quieter specialty lunch, as well as dinner. And on screen now is the lunch menu and the dinner menu for Chops Grill. Giovanni's table is also on Deck 11, close to the Windjammer, and it serves Italian-style food, including pasta, meat dishes, seafood, starters, and desserts. It's a paid restaurant, so it isn't included in your standard cruise fare, but it's a good option if you want something different from the main dining room or buffet. Giovanni's may sometimes open for lunch, but on my back-to-back Liberty cruise, I was on board for 9 days, and it didn't open for lunch during my sailing. So if you're interested in Giovanni's, check the app once you're on board rather than assuming it will be available at lunchtime. And here is the menu for Giovanni's. One of the biggest changes after the refit is the addition of Izumi Teppanyaki. Izumi is on deck 4, and it replaced Sabor, which used to be the Mexican specialty restaurant in this area. This gives Liberty of the Seas a very different specialty dining option after the refit. At Izumi, you've got the hibachi-style dinner, where the chef cooks in front of you at the table, so it's part meal and part entertainment. It's the sort of restaurant that works well if you want an experience, rather than just a standard sit-down dinner. You can also go to Izumi for sushi, so it isn't only about the teppanyaki tables. That gives you another option if you want something lighter, or if you like Japanese food but don't necessarily want the full hibachi experience. And the menu for Izumi is on screen now. Then there's Chef's Table, which is Royal Caribbean's more premium specialty dining experience. Chef's Table is usually a paired 7-course tasting menu with wine pairings, so this is much more of a special occasion meal than a regular dinner option. It's aimed at people who want a longer and special food and wine experience, and it's usually one of the most expensive dining options on board. And finally, there's Johnny Rockets on deck 12. Johnny Rockets is very different from the other specialty restaurants because it's a casual American-style diner rather than a formal dinner venue. You'll find burgers, fries, onion rings, milkshakes, and classic diner-style food. It's a paid venue, but it works well if you want something fun and relaxed. And here's the menu for Johnny Rockets. The last thing to know is what happens later in the evening, because this is where Liberty of the Seas can catch people out. The Windjammer usually closes at around 9 p.m. in the evening. And that's worth knowing, because on some other cruise lines the buffet stays open much later, or has a late-night snack service in the buffet. On Liberty, once the Windjammer closes, the most popular late-night food options is Sorrento's Pizzeria, and it's usually open until around 3 a.m., although you should always check the Royal Caribbean app for the exact times on your sailing. Café Promenade is also open 24 hours a day. And that's how dining works on Liberty of the Seas. But once you know where to eat, it really helps to know how the ship is laid out, especially after the refit. So next, watch my full Liberty of the Seas ship tour, where I'll take you deck by deck and show you exactly what's changed.